bridge to Helheim. I forget its name. She forgets too. But she does remember that only the dead may cross it. That part wasn't so easy to forget. The old fool said there was a hidden path up to it. Let's see, shall we?
The Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness. Only the dead dwell in Helheim, and that is where you must travel.
Where are we? What's down there? So brave.
Why did she do that?
She shouldn't have done so.
She can't go back now.
No, this is it. The hidden path.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them. Don't listen. I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. Don't listen. I'll never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. A liar. An old fool. Truth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
The runes seal the gates to hell. Focus your inner eye, and you too will see what's hidden in plain sight.
I can see one.
Hold it in your mind's eye. Find one like it to open the gate.
Take a closer look.
It's neat. Look towards the gate, and the gate will open.
The gate is open. Go through the gate.
Go through it.
It's dangerous.
Follow it.
What's behind the gate?
Where will it take you?
It worked.
I spent 6 years enslaved in hell. But I watched the Northmen. Learned their ways.
I know you did.
You listened when everyone else laughed. My people paid a heavy price. Carry my stories with you, and together we will make the Northmen feel our fury.
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always here. I guess it's the same with hiding. stand on the edge. Pretend it's going to be okay. But you know that death is near, waiting for you to make that little slip.
The world of the dead is ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed.
Oh, stay back.
Look at it.
You have to open it.
The gate to Helheim divides the living from the dead. Is that the face of Hela herself? The half-rotten goddess that rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him. Shh. Someone's here. Took him from me. I beg you, let him go. I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
He's down. She finished him.
what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain, it does not reason. It is rot. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time. The hardest battles are fought in the mind. That is what Dillian taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind. And she will fulfill her vow. Whatever the cost.
He's not real.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Zurt, and the god of illusion, Valravan. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
To Dillian.
To his soul. It won't open.
How will she get through?
Why won't it open?
Why can't she open it? She needs to challenge the gods.
She has to fight two gods first.
Two gods?
Two gates.
Which will she choose first?
One of them will kill her, I know it.
She's going to die. Uh-oh.
Which one will she challenge first?
Be very careful, Senua.
Choose a gate, Senua.
Two gates, two gods.
She's too scared.
Which one?
Mood.tv.
But it takes a while before I get it. I'm slow at it.
It's like this.
No, you won't shut it up.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 6 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. Woo! Off to a good start there. If you're tuning in and you've never heard this podcast before, we make a lot of weird noises and we say stupid things. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Everybody that's tuned in the past, thank you for tuning in once again. We are live 9 o'clock on YouTube every Tuesday. If you're listening to this live, congratulations to the one of you. If you're listening to this in the future, which is everybody that's listening to this that's not the one person, start tuning in on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock. We're going to drop all these episodes.
Somebody just dropped.
We just dropped. We're even lower than we began. That's good. That opening song was I don't know if we can say really written by Zach Storman, but we covered it.
Interpolated by me.
It was interpolated.
It was written by Kansas.
It was written by Kansas. But we
Kansas and Kyle Mocha are the
yeah. And I think really Keith gets the credit then because he was the one that
Keith has the loudest voice on the recording.
Well, he has the loudest
so
voice on the recording. And he's in the background there at one point.
Yeah,
he's the one
there's
that,
so many layers on that track, it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
He's the one that can get sued if we ever make any money.
He
Kansas
suggested
wants their money. You heard it here first. It was Keith's fault. MTV News.
Sue him. You should sue. We're MTV News now?
No, that's what you say.
I thought we were Moot.tv News.
Moot.tv. Yeah, we should bring that back. But do it like MTV News.
We can do it.
You can be Kurt Loder.
I'll be Kyle Loder.
Kyle Loder, I like it.
But we'll spell it like Loader.
Yeah, because it's an internet thing.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that I'm loaded.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a double entendre.
Yeah, that's
we
what
have
they
to dress
call
like Metallica.
Yeah. So the song, we used to have that song play at the beginning of our original run of the podcast when we used to talk about bands. But we don't do that anymore because that was tiring and mentally straining.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, important question. We kind of briefly touched on it before we started the podcast. How long will a stick of butter last in your ass?
A frozen stick.
A frozen stick of butter. How long does it last in your ass? Like fully submerged into, like completely, and we're going wrapper on, right? We're going wrapper on still.
Oh, that would help it.
Yeah, that prolongs.
Get in there.
It prolongs it a little bit. But I mean, your asshole and the interior temperature, it's still 98.6 degrees, right? Like when you are a little kid and you go to the doctor, and for whatever reason they get their jollies by sticking a thermometer in your butthole because your ears not good enough, your mouth not good enough.
Do you vividly remember?
Yeah. Yeah,
because I don't remember that happening.
I remember literally going in and there was a thing of like petroleum jelly, and the doctor
Vaseline.
like put it on and then just shoved it right in, and I was like, oh,
how old? Were you 12?
6 maybe.
Jesus.
Yeah. I don't think I was any older than 6.
Sure you were.
When I did it at the doctor's office. The next time I did it, I was 12, and that was just for fun. But yeah, how long do you think a stick of butter would last in there? I mean, realistically, if it was in a 100-degree room, think an hour?
I don't know.
Do you think you're moving around affects it at all?
Well, Rich says an hour.
An hour?
Okay. No, I think it's quicker than that because if I took a frozen stick of butter and put it in my hand, and
just held it between your hands,
that would be definitely less than an hour.
You think so?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Now, follow-up question: what color is it when it comes out?
My hands?
No, the butter. Yeah. What happens? What color are your hands after you pull them out of your ass when you've been holding that butter inside your asshole? How long will a stick of frozen butter?
Is it like paint? If you take brown and mix it with yellow,
you get
a lighter brown?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Light brown.
So light brown's the answer.
Light brown is the answer.
Good. I like that.
I think that we can all agree on.
I think we all can definitely agree on that. So this weekend I got to do 2 things that I've not ever had the chance of doing. The first one, for the last 8 years, me and my old general manager from when I worked at Garfield's in the Stroud Mall, which if you don't know is Perkins with a bar.
Now it's a Mexican restaurant.
No, now it's a closed Mexican restaurant. Right. It lasted 6 months. They couldn't get a liquor license. It's a little unfortunate. and they didn't want to be the only restaurant in the mall because that's a terrible thing to have to be.
True.
But when I worked there on Kentucky Derby race day, I had been given a tip that was a dollar bill that was made George Washington look like a pirate. So I bet my boss the dollar bill on evens or odds and for the horse race, and we picked evens and odds, and he won. And then the next year it happened again, and I drew another one. And then the next year, and every single year he's won. And then he moved. He went to Alabama.
Okay.
I didn't, because I have standards.
Obviously. Well, hey.
Shout out to Alabama.
Woo! Preston!
Get some standards. But he moved there, and then every year we've texted on the day, and we've bet. And every single year I've lost. No matter what I pick, evens or odds, I switch it every single year, or I don't remember what I took last year.
Yeah, I was asking you about that.
Yeah,
a little bit earlier.
yeah. So I switched it up, and so finally this year I won. I picked odds.
Okay.
And the odds-on favorite, which was an odd, that's name was Justify, won. So I don't get a dollar or anything like that. There's really no good thing that happens from it other than I feel like my luck is turning a little bit.
Okay.
And then the next day after that, this is like a race weekend for me. After that extremely, extremely important pivotal moment in my life, I have to phrase this correctly so I don't offend people out there. I did a 5K.
Okay.
I did not run a 5K.
You did a 5K.
But I did a 5K, which means
You walked 5
kilometers? I walked technically almost a 5K. We were watching the kid. It was for the kids' schools, for Madeline's school. And it was one of those color runs where they throw paint and shit all over you. It was kind of fucking awesome. They give you a white shirt, you run through. They can throw you with paint, like the paint powder. And they just throw it. They give you a bag of it yourself that you can throw at anybody. People are smacking each other, putting their hands to each other's faces, covering each other. Everyone's just head to toe.
Did anybody put a handprint in anywhere inappropriate?
I did not see it. I did not see it.
You didn't try it?
I didn't try it. No, there were far too many children.
Event?
It was a family event. It was a benefit for the school. So we didn't want to. But I mean, people were fully head to toe covered in this paint.
The what school?
It's the Summit School of the Poconos. It's a
children's school.
It's an elementary to high school.
There's schools for adults.
There are.
Yeah, there are.
Where that kind of stuff happens.
Oh,
it's called a hooker school.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it was the old school. No.
Oh my god, that's worse.
Yeah, it would have been worse. I had some guy come in the bar the other day, and he kept saying that he was old school. He just kept repeating that he was old school, but he was trying to tell me that he was an old 70-something-year-old white guy with a pencil mustache. It's gone gray, and there was a black dude in the bar that has an island accent, and he went to the bathroom, and the white guy goes, "I'm old school. I can't understand what he's saying." And I looked at him. I was like, "He's old school too." He just went to a different district. And the guy looked at me like, "I don't get what that I took a leap saying old school. I'm 78 years old. I don't know why I said that. I don't know the lingo that you're trying to throw at me. Meanwhile, I'm just making random shit up."
Yeah,
it was great. But yeah, old school. I think that needs to be retired. That phrase needs to just all in general until they come out with the movie Old School 2. Whenever that happens, they got to revive Vince Vaughn from whatever hole he's living in.
What is Vince Vaughn
when they're
doing?
70?
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. They're all blue.
Yeah.
Cue my boy, Blue.
We're the boys.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Oh Lord. All right. So every week, a pivotal part of what we like to do here is we like to partake in some beverages, and we've been on a kick of trying different cheap beer, you might say. Last week we had Tecate for Cinco de Mayo and our Puerto Rican guest Cisco, and he didn't seem to appreciate it too much. He drank it.
Get mad about that one.
People were?
No,
Have
people can get mad about that.
You
one.
think so? Maybe.
I had a Puerto Rican friend I used to call Mexican because I knew it would make him mad.
Oh yeah.
And I had a Mexican friend who used to call Puerto Rican. It would make him mad.
Yeah.
Well, so I did it equally to both of them, and they were both equally mad about it.
Well,
not saying one is better than the other.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't know how to tell them apart. And that's why we love our Mexican and Puerto Rican listeners, because they sit through shit like that.
Yeah.
But each week we try to drink a different cheap beer, something new. This week we kind of went back a little bit. We got some Natty Daddies and what's the other one? The Natty Ice. We got some Natty Ice.
Yeah.
And to kind of complete the ensemble of complete, horrifically amazing 90s frat boy beverages, today we're classing it up a little bit. And we have introduced to ourselves, well, reintroduced to Justin and I. We've are now introducing to Zach Storman.
I've never had one before. I don't think.
Zima.
But
now,
there's a special way.
Now we're doing it a special way. If you're at home, by the way, I didn't introduce everybody. If you're listening, we got Justin here with us today.
Yeah, hello.
He's always here.
Hello.
And then we got
They
Zach.
know we're here.
Yeah. All right. So we got all that out of the way. I'm Kyle. You know that. All right. So
Who's Kyle?
the way that we're doing this is we've got some mugs and pouring the Zima into the mugs, and then in addition to that, we've purchased some of these Jolly Rancher Ices, the kind of the ones that are just in a stick, and they're all stuck together, and you just break them apart and hope they don't pop and spill all over everything. So they're not frozen. That's the key thing. They're still liquid. So what we're doing is we're taking the Zima, we're pouring it into the glass, and then we're taking the...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. What happened? Did you spill it?
Trying to rip it apart, I ripped one.
Exactly what I just
And I was thinking so hard to myself, don't be the asshole that does this.
Well, at least it's all over you and the floor of your
I
house.
wanted the purple one because I think it's great. Oh, man, it's
well, I just added watermelon to mine. I don't know if that's a good probably not a good choice. Or a bad choice. I think it's a bad choice.
Oh, I got it all over my computer. I'm making such a goddamn mess.
Zimas are worth it, we hope.
Oh my god.
So the old trick that Justin said was to put a Jolly Rancher in the actual Zima.
Yeah.
We're just taking it a step further, expediting the process and pouring the Jolly Rancher icy liquid, which is basically Jolly Rancher juice, into our mugs. So tonight, our episode is in no way sponsored by Zima.
No.
They're a Miller Coors company, but we would accept a sponsorship from them. But honestly, I think I still am going to prefer a twisted tea or something over this.
I literally
I don't know,
got
man. I
this
never
stuff
liked these, honestly.
everywhere.
Zach has managed to get one tube
Huge mess.
everywhere. All right. Now, if you're listening live, you're going to see on the screen a picture of the Zima and the mugs that we've poured them into. Waiting for Zach to get ready. And then,
I had to clean the mess up first. God.
Oh Lord, how bad is your computer right now?
Oh, it's gonna be way stickier than it was.
All right. Well, I think the first thing I'm going to do, because I've not had a Zima in, I'm going to say 11, 12 years.
Did you just do it again, dude? Jesus Christ.
Zach's sober, if you can't tell.
Sober.
Super sober.
Yep.
That's my nick. That's what they call me in high school.
Sober Zach.
Zach.
You went to Irony High?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so I haven't had a Zima in about like 11, 12 years.
Yeah.
Last time I had it, DeZambo, my friend DeZambo, was living right off of Main Street, and he had a Zima that he left in he took it with him everywhere he lived for like 5 years. And it was a 5-year-old Zima, so that's the only one I've ever had in my life. Is 11 or 12 years ago. It was 5 years old, and I chugged it in about 4 seconds.
Okay.
And then got down to a pair of bikini briefs and ran around outside in the snow. It was for a thing we were doing.
Okay.
I've always been a
weird thing.
yeah, I've always been a glutton for attention, you know? So at this point, I was just running around. They waxed my body, too. It was weird. It was strange. It was called Speedo Ventures. It doesn't exist anywhere.
Is that gonna happen as soon as I drink this Zima?
Yeah.
Am I gonna just
You're
like
streaking.
stop the podcast?
Yeah.
I'm getting naked and y'all are waxing me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have wax, but maybe I can find some bubble gum we can improvise.
Okay.
It might hurt a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna take a sip of just the Zima. Have you tried it yet, Justin?
No.
You haven't taken a sip? Have you?
No, I have not.
All right, so we're gonna all here. Cheers, cheers to bad decisions.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right, so take a sip of this. Tastes like Sprite.
Yeah.
That tastes like
There's alcohol in this?
there's alcohol in this apparently.
Tastes like nothing.
That it's 5% alcohol.
It's like shitty water.
Well, it is a Coors product. It's a Miller Coors product, so you know maybe they should have had it like cold activated in a bottle or something.
I'll
triple hops brewed.
The Budweiser Freedom Brew fucking shit that we saw today.
Yeah.
New Budweiser.
New Budweiser.
It's a different taste?
I guess so.
I think it's supposed to be bolder.
Yeah, it's supposed
like
to be an
America.
actual beer.
Yeah. All right, so that's the taste of what the Zima tastes like. I don't think you need a Jolly Rancher. Someone else said Skittles.
Yeah.
I think Midnight Jack.
I'm pretty sure it didn't taste like this.
Yeah. I don't know. That tastes
taste like
way too easy to consume. Like, granted, the only time I tasted it again was it was 4 seconds 12 years ago. So I just remember not tasting much of it. So now I'm going to taste my watermelon flavored one. Zach has, I would suggest sipping it and not picking it up because then you're going to just continue to spill it.
Just noticed that in my mess of cleaning up the keyboard, I typed something into the chat.
You did?
Yeah.
CVX
divide.
I don't even know how to hit the divide sign.
I think you have to hit control, but you're on an Apple, so I don't know. I don't know what you do. All right, so here's the watermelon flavored Zima, and I guess great for Zach. See how this goes. It literally tastes like nothing when you add flavor to it.
It's less offensive than it was before.
You know, it kind of the Sam Adams came out with that Truly, that water, that canned sparkling alcoholic water, because water needs to be alcoholic.
And their nitros taste like nothing as well.
It just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Zima, go fuck yourself and sponsor us. This is the best press you're getting.
It's dry.
Yeah.
Like red wine. I sort of like it.
I'd like it if it had more lemon or lime flavoring to it.
It didn't taste. It literally tastes like a watered down Sprite.
It tastes like a Sprite bottle you left half full outside for a week.
Well, then let's not hurt ourselves anymore and chug the rest of them.
All right, well, we're gonna chug the rest of them. So bottoms up to these.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts a little bit just from the bubbles. All right, this is what you turn into. To hear belching. Men drinking Zima and belching.
You're not hearing that anywhere else.
You're not. This is a one-of-a-kind experience. I don't know why you're into it, but you're getting it here. Oh, Lord. So, thing in the news that came up that I saw, and by the news, I mean my Facebook news feed. Apparently, DJ Khaled, Khaled, there you go.
We the best.
He doesn't go down on his wife, apparently.
Oh, I saw this.
You see
too,
this?
Yeah.
So he's talking about that, and then somebody responded like,
it was
no king or something like that, a king that doesn't like serve or something. But The Rock responded by saying that he has to like dedicate everything to every performance. He has to put everything into every single performance, but that might be too much information. Yeah.
I mean,
so if you're The Rock's, is he married?
Yeah.
If you're The Rock's wife,
he's
good
for you. Yeah. But it's weird. I heard about it on Facebook, and then I saw on Colbert he was talking about it as well. And I didn't realize, and you'll probably tell me I've listened to him 1,000 times. I didn't realize he was that huge of a person.
DJ Khaled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He like puts songs together.
He's a producer.
Crazy, like all the hottest.
You know that stupid fucking
stuff.
noise. Yeah, like the air.
All the music to me is noise nowadays.
No, the air horn.
The air horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's him.
No, he drops it hard.
He came up with the air horn in music.
I don't know
he
if
didn't come up with it, but
he's
he's a big
the one that
user.
uses it all the time. Dude.
Weird. That's strange.
He was. Do you remember him though in Shatas, the Jamaican movie?
Yeah.
Totally doesn't look like himself at all. I remember when somebody's like, "Yeah, that's DJ Khaled, right?" I was like, "Shut up." It is. It's
so
DJ Khaled.
so mostly like club music and things that I just wouldn't really understand or ever put myself in a situation where I'd listen to it.
And he doesn't.
Yeah.
make the music. He just like puts it to like that old school DJ that's on your radio playing songs. But he gets like a song with like Justin Bieber and Quavo and
I don't know what that
the
means.
other hot like whoever's hot this summer.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a banger that comes out that has everyone who's put out some really popular stuff this year.
All right. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't really know who he was, and people were referring to him as saying like he's like a king of some things or something like that. And I was just kind of like, this is another one of those situations where I just have ignored things for so long that I'm a 90-year-old man when it comes to this shit. Right. So he's good. He's awesome.
I like him. I think he's.
What's his persona like?
I don't.
It's like in your face.
Yeah,
okay, so
he's over the top.
That's how. Yeah, but like it works for him.
Okay. Like maybe I'll check.
Oh, he's an old school DJ.
Yeah, I'll check out him and his air horns, I guess.
Yeah, dude, go after it.
Should I just Google DJ Khaled air horns?
Sure.
Do they just have a medley of all the times he's used air horns?
Yeah, it's probably like 14.
I want an 8-minute air horn compilation of DJ
You
Khaled.
could get more than that.
Yeah, it's probably like 14 days long, dude.
Yeah? He uses
Just
it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. DJ Khaled, you need a new thing. Maybe like a boat horn.
All right.
Like just a different horn.
Speaking of a new thing, do you know what DJ Khaled's original DJ name was?
No.
DJ Arab Attack.
Arab Attack?
Oh, yeah.
And that was before 9/11.
Yeah.
He changed his name to DJ Khaled after that.
Yep.
Because he wanted to do something that didn't come off as Middle Eastern at all?
Well, because he figured
Arab
that was a terrible name. But that was his, like, in the 90s.
So, like, the majority of the beginning part of his career.
The majority of it hasn't been.
So,
but in the beginning, before 9/11, like, before the world got crazy. That's when the world got crazy.
Yeah. So it's kind of like ISIS
Americans.
the band, except they didn't change their name.
Yeah, exactly.
But he figured, he was like, yeah, that's probably not a great name right now.
Is he like, I mean, he's obviously super...
Of Middle Eastern descent?
Yeah. And was he famous at the time of 9/11 as Arab Attack, or was he just an
Well, yeah, he was a New York DJ.
Oh, okay.
Like a real New York DJ back in the 90s.
Was he on like an FM station?
Yeah, I forget what.
Shit.
Yeah.
Arab Attack on the FM?
Yeah,
Imus must have loved that. I bet he tuned in every day.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right, well, before we go to take our first break, I wanted to... I was listening earlier to... It was a nice day, so I was listening to nice day music. And one of my favorite songs, or one of my favorite albums, is from Catch-22. It's Keys Be Nights. It's a great, wonderful 90s ska album. And I realized that in 7 years, my high school will be celebrating its 25th anniversary of opening. And it opened when I was a freshman in high school. And so it was 18 years ago. And we all got to fill out a little card with information and just things that we wanted to say to our future self. And we could write whatever we wanted. And there were too many of them that I knew that there was no way every single one would be read by somebody. So I just wrote mine out, put it in the pile, and it went into this box and into the side of the building. And in 7 years, they're going to get to open it, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I remember I quoted Catch-22 song. And so in 7 years, I'm not going to forget it. I haven't forgotten it in 18 years. I'm going to be there. And I really hope they let us go on stage and read them out loud. What was that?
Are you for sure that you wrote other things with it?
Yeah, other things went on this. This is like the last thing. I mean, there might be only like one or two other things written.
Right.
But I hope they let us go up on stage like or something like that. And like, oh, we can read them out loud and like reminisce. Because on my card, it says... If you call for me, I'll be sitting at my desk with a gun in my hand, wearing a bulletproof vest. Say goodbye, my, how the time does fly when you know you're going to die by the end of the night. Hey, hey.
Yeah.
God, I loved that band.
And there were no flags raised when I was in high school. All right, we're going to jump to our first break. Thank you for listening live. Everybody that's here in the chat room, we'll be back. You're going to hear, what are we doing, the Zach song?
Yeah.
All right, you're going to hear a song from Zach. Zach, introduce the song.
This is me and Justin and Big Pat.
Yep.
It's an ode to the house.
An ode to the house. All right.
This houseboat.
The houseboat Tommy Lee Jones.
Houseboat Tommy Lee Jones.
All right, we're going to sync this shit. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Later.
inside, if you're the right one. Come inside, if you're the right one. My house is like a cave for suspects, a getaway for all my friends and roughnecks. Breathe deep. Okay. You might get stoned. Okay. I'm like a burnout at my home. Okay. Yeah. Okay. In my home. Okay. Hey. Step inside this den of thieves. I got some friends that you should meet. And after this, if you don't leave, I guess that this was meant to be. Me for you and you for me. I'm the captain of the team, cheerleader of my dreams. You a perfect 10 and then some. Go ahead, bring your friends, huh? They'll be safe with them, huh? Yeah, them on my day ones. And we gon' have some fun tonight. Yeah, we always do it right. So come on, girls, come inside. Hey! Come inside, if you're the right one. 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 Hey, come inside, if you're the right one. Hey, come inside, if you're the right one. Come inside, if you're the right one. Hey.
All right, and welcome back to episode 6 of Kyle Mucker Won't Shut Up, live on YouTube, or you're listening it on some other platform in the future, and you should have listened to
another
it.
Zima.
Oh, you're having another one? I guess I should have another one. Oh, it's good. Is it good? Is it good the second time? Oh, Lord. I don't think we can get any lower than this. You think we can get lower than Zima?
Oh, we could get lower, dude.
All right, we'll
Don't
try.
challenge me. Say it officially.
I challenge you to get lower than Zima.
Okay.
All right.
See you next week.
With rubbing alcohol. All right. So something I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about this earlier because it's getting warm out again.
Woo!
Yeah, finally getting warm. And one thing that I don't know, just a voice. One thing I hate about warm weather are the bees. I am allergic as hell to bees. They sting me and they make me, inflate a little bit. And I don't have the money for one of those fancy $1,000 life-saving EpiPens, so I just stay away from them. And if they attack, I run. But there's a thing that happens when you're standing outside and say like I always have a hat on for the most part, and a lot of times it's for self-defense from bees. Okay. You might not know that it's the majority of the reason I wear a hat is to have something to fight off bees with.
You heard it here first. We're starting a hat company. It's called Self-Defense Hats.
Self-defense hats. Yeah, they're just regular hats. You can just hit things.
Yeah,
with
but
them.
That's the brand name. Self-defense.
Yeah, self-defense hats.
We're a hat company. Self-defense hats.
It's a real thing. It's happening. But I was outside and this bee comes at me, right? And I take the hat off and I start swinging at it violently. And I'm spinning all over the porch because it's going all around me. Right. And I'm trying to get back into the house so it doesn't kill me dead. Right. And I get in the house and then I look out the window and my neighbor's sitting on their porch and they've watched pretty much the entire thing go down. And I realized aside from dying from being stung by a bee or just getting really annoyed that a carpenter bee bit you or whatever the fuck those things do, the worst thing for me I think that can happen is somebody watching you fight a bee. Because to you it's a very real threat. Or for me it's a very real threat right there. But from 20 feet away or more, you can't tell that I'm fighting a bee. And it just looks like I'm having a conniption all on my own, just freaking the fuck out over nothing. Right. And it's terrible. I don't like it because it makes me start thinking, is the bee even real?
No.
The bee's not real, is it?
Never.
And
It's
it ties
never
in with
real, dude.
one of my favorite shows, X-Files. X-Files, the bees were a big part of X-Files. So in the movie, Dana gets stung by the bee, which leads to her being, taken by the government and put into the spaceship and everything. And so I wish that would happen when I got stung by bees.
Right.
It'd be more exciting, but it doesn't. So that's why I think, even though The Happening is a terrible movie, it's a great premise.
Well, bees are important.
They are
Right.
important.
Yeah,
they are. They're very important. They pollinate.
They pollinate the
Yeah.
hell out of stuff. That's how the world works.
I just wish they didn't want to also kill me dead.
Well, see, the bees that do the pollinating don't want to hurt you.
Well, then
Well,
can
you're
we
talking
get rid
about-
of the
are
other
you talking
ones?
about wasps?
Oh, wasps too. But
Yeah.
any bees, I just feel like their intent is to attack
They're
me.
not. No, not at all, man.
No?
Usually,
No.
yeah, I mean, unless you piss them off.
Wasp or
somehow.
hornet,
Yeah.
if you attack their nest,
Yeah.
yeah.
So a bee's not going to kill me.
A bee
If,
is
unless
not,
I go
allergic,
at
dude.
it.
a bee does not want to sting you.
What about carpenter bees? Those things look mean as fuck. I feel like I could
Nah,
just
they're-
hit one
Yeah,
with a
but
baseball
if
bat.
if you're,
I mean, you can knock
you know,
them. They
it might
really
be
won't
in
do
your
anything.
house,
Yeah.
but like then it thinks that it's
In
his
its house.
Yeah.
Its
Oh,
house.
God, I really hope I don't get into like a turf battle with the bees. The bees! Not the bees! Are you allergic? Yeah, me too.
I have an EpiPen. It's out
You
of
have
date,
one?
but you can have it. if
Oh,
you
sweet.
want.
This is wonderful.
Oh,
Here
yeah,
at
so
Kyle
you can
Mocha
just-
won't shut up.
you're
We
gonna
like to
go,
save the lives of Kyle Mochas.
It's out of
So
date.
you're going on a beat?
I don't know how that affects it.
I don't know. Is
Uh,
it like Tylenol where they say it's expired, but it doesn't really expire? They just want you to buy more?
Yeah, but this instead of like Tylenol, it's meth because that's what it is.
It's meth.
Yeah, it's epinephrine,
Okay.
right? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I don't know. Dude.
Yeah,
I don't have
epinephrine. That's why
one.
they call it EpiPen.
Okay.
It's they gave that. I had to hit one once.
Okay.
Not hit one as in
Hit
like
one.
recreational. I had to get stabbed with one once.
Gee,
It was a hell of a bruise, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is it like an adrenaline rush at all? Or
Yeah,
is
well,
it...
because I had an allergic reaction and my body started to shut down. Like my organs started to turn off.
How old were you?
This was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
While I knew you?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I almost
I'm a
died.
terrible
I
friend.
was at the doctor's. I used to get allergy shots.
Yeah.
They, for
Yeah.
my allergies.
Okay.
And you always have to stay there after you get the shot because you may have an allergic reaction.
To the said shot.
Yeah, to the shot that's helping you not have really terrible allergies. I have
Jesus.
terrible allergies. And so I had been on them maybe a year. And I got to the point, in the beginning you have to go like every week. So I got to the point where I only had to go every month.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I had to go up to Kingston near Scranton
Okay.
to the doctor up there, the allergy specialist. So though I've been on this for probably a year and a half, and it's working great. I
Yeah.
feel amazing.
Oh, shit.
And
Well,
it just so happens that one time my body had the reaction. I basically started to go into shock. You know what I mean?
how
I
close
couldn't
were you to
breathe.
death?
They didn't give me, they didn't be like, kid, you almost died. You know,
Why
but
not? They
I
should tell
felt,
you that.
But as any point in my life that I ever felt close to death, and
Yeah.
I've done some wild things.
Yeah.
This was the most that I think I've ever felt to death. They had to pick me up in an ambulance from the doctor's office and take me to the ER.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I mean? Like
that's
at the
crazy.
doctor's office, they're like, "You better get him to the hospital," because that's how serious it was. They hit me with the EpiPen at the doctor's office,
Yeah.
and then by the time I was in the ambulance, like I was barely there, and they were hitting me with all kinds of stuff, and then my heart started racing. Like
I bet.
I was just like, it came back to life. It was insane.
It's crazy.
I never got another shot after
Well,
that.
I'll take your expired one of those just in case. That sounds like it'll be safe. I don't think it could be too bad. Speaking of things that can't be too bad, finally got somebody to watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Mr. Justin here watched the first 2 episodes that are available for free on YouTube of Cobra Kai, which, if you're listening and you're not familiar with Cobra Kai, it is the continuation of the Karate Kid saga, the original Karate Kid, not the next Karate Kid and not the Karate Kid remake, which really should have been called Kung Fu Kid.
Yeah.
It should have just been a totally different thing altogether because it
I mean, was it
just
supposed to be
needed
a
to
remake, or
separate.
did
I never
they just
saw
want
that
the
one.
name?
Well, from what I had heard, Will Smith bought the rights to Karate Kid so his son could make the movie.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's
Hey, that happens. Michael Douglas's dad, Kirk Douglas, bought the rights of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest so he could make the movie.
Damn.
Okay.
So his dad bought him an Oscar, basically.
It's pretty crazy.
And then he bought himself a Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's a good buy.
You know?
Yeah. Hey.
Wow.
It's a good purchase.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, so Cobra Kai's out. And first 2 episodes are the only thing that I've seen because I don't have YouTube Red.
Right.
So
I watched it the same way.
Yeah, we
2 free episodes and.
Okay, so what was your opinion after watching the first 2?
I'm gonna actually go back to the trailer. When I first watched the trailer, I wasn't 100% sold on the actual show. Like, it looked interesting. I was into the concept, but I had a preconceived notion of like the way they portrayed Daniel.
Okay.
Like, I just thought he was gonna be like just this prick the whole time, like.
One-dimensional. He became successful.
Yeah, like in that.
Because
sense.
in the preview, you see that he owns a car dealership.
Correct.
And
just like
it looks like the DeLorean letters. It says LaRusso across, the building and everything.
Yeah, and just the way that they cut the like the voice lines.
Yeah, technically I kicked him in the face.
Yeah,
line.
that's in there, and it's like, okay, it's this. I don't know if I'm gonna actually enjoy this or not.
Yeah.
And then you start watching it, and you realize the similarities that they portray. And what's going on in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, the way they brought it back together is really fucking cool.
Well, they make you, for a quick, again, we've only watched the first 2 episodes, so everything's pretty much spoiler-free. It's what you get in the trailer if you're watching the trailer. The story takes place from the viewpoint of Johnny. And it's 34 years after the original All Valley Conference where Daniel did the crane kick. And Johnny is a handyman by trade, and
just close the door, man.
Oh Lord, we will welcome back to the show. The intruder, is back and very quietly opening doors, very very slowly. Oh Lordy. So he opens up, so it opens up with Johnny being a handyman by trade and kind of having a shit existence at this point. He seems to be a drunk. He seems to just abandon everything in his life that ever really meant anything to him. He's just kind of a bitter asshole who's just still living in Reseda or wherever they're around. I think it's Reseda that they're in. And then Daniel, you see from his side, he's successful. He's got, a wonderful wife, 2 kids, blah, 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 blah. But then you start seeing that Daniel's life isn't as great as it can be or it could be. His kids don't really respect him.
I actually really like the shot of the, like when he pulled up to the center.
Yeah.
Where they had the match and it was the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
Hey, I gave my best, and he's like,
where the bad sense is like your best isn't good enough. Yeah, exactly. That whole speech, and that's a really cool thing that they do. They're using the flashbacks to kind of bring everybody that liked the originals in on it. Yep. But they are doing really good double work. There's one shot that is from it's a crane shot from above of Johnny laying on the mat, and it's obviously not from the original. They just got a really good body double, and they use that and a body double for the bad sensei for the shot you're talking about, where it's Johnny kind of drunkenly daydreaming. Looking off at where the All Valley conference was, and seeing that scene where he gets into the altercation where his trophy's broken by his sensei and everything there.
And then it goes into Daniel when he sees the Cobra Kai sign.
Yeah,
because that flashback.
Yeah, what winds up happening is Johnny gets inspired to open up Cobra Kai dojo again, to basically bring, as he says, basically a form of karate that you pussies don't know anything about, your pussy generation. Yeah. So he's very old school American.
Says pussy in the show.
Oh yeah.
Dude, they don't. It's the way it's basically he's caught in the 80s because there's been references to like he has no idea what the means.
Johnny. Oh, Johnny. Yeah.
Johnny. Okay.
He's like caught in the 80s, still driving the same car. It's just all beat up and fucked up. Not trying to spoil anything. I don't know if they showed it in the trailer or not, but either way.
What kind of car is it?
It's Pontiac.
The
Firebird.
Yeah, it's the same car he had.
It would be. I don't remember those movies, but
well, I don't remember him having that car specifically, but I think he does have some hotshot car like that.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, but either way, he's driving that. He's listening to Guns N' Roses and Rat and everything along those lines.
Understand like what the music is, and he's hearing shit, and it's like he's still caught up there. So like the throwbacks into that is really awesome.
Yeah, so he gets roped into, or he decides to open up after getting into an altercation with a group of younger kids and defending his neighbor. And then it's basically just the story of like a bitter, pissed off, aging man, like just an aging guy, like a guy who thinks he's hot shit, who's realizing at this point he's in his 50s. If he was 17 as a senior in high school, it's 34 years later. He's in his early 50s. And he lives in a shit apartment, and he's got nothing going for him. And he realizes, he can open up this dojo and kick right back into things. Yep. And the comedy is there. It is tongue-in-cheek enough. There's the one...
throwback jokes.
There's one great scene, because there's kind of the same thing where Daniel went under the wings of Miyagi. This is... a kid that lives next to him, he takes him under his wing, and he's having him clean up the dojo to like pass all these inspections, and the kid's wiping a window, right? He's wiping a window, and he goes to Johnny. He's like, "Hey, is there any specific way you want me to be wiping these things?" And Johnny's like, "I don't give a shit." And it's just this wonderful line where it's like, that somebody wrote a draft, and they were just like, where he said like wax on or wax off or something along those lines. Yeah. And then they just cut it and just went right with like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. I don't give a shit. And he delivers it really well. Now, the cool thing is I think a lot of the show is the music, the ambiance of it, definitely the nostalgia that you want to go back to it. But the editing is really well done. The fighting scenes are done pretty well. But overall, neither of them are good actors.
No.
They're not good actors in any way. The rest of the characters are okay. Yeah, they're okay. But neither of the two of them are award-winning actors. Yeah, it's
what else did they never did anything
Ralph
else.
Macchio? Ralph Macchio's Karate Kid.
He did the Steve Vai movie. I know he did that one.
He was in The Outsiders before that. He did My Cousin Vinny a few years after, like about 6-7 years later.
The most recent thing that Ralph Macchio was big name for was he was on Dancing with the Stars. And
well, that's bullshit. That's a bullshit thing to be famous for.
Dancing with the Stars doesn't count.
But that's it. Ralph Macchio was never.
If Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can still compete in it, it doesn't matter.
Carried him through most of that, and then
well, he did 3 Karate Kid movies. He did 3 Karate Kid movies.
No, he did 2, right?
No, he did the first 3.
Yeah, and then the fourth one was...
The fourth one is Hilary Swank.
That's the best movie of all time.
You like that one? The water gun scene's pretty sweet.
Hilary Swank.
Oh, you like her? You like her better in that, or do you like her better in that Boys Don't Cry movie?
Oh, Boys Don't Cry. Oh my God, that's a heart wrenching. Yeah. That's a really serious watch.
Yeah, and she's a.
You want to be sad? Go watch that.
Watch that or Girl Interrupted. Anything?
Oh God, I can't do that. Because Winona Ryder drives me nuts.
In the good way or the bad way?
In both. I want to give her such a hug. I want to give her a hug and tell her it's all going to be okay. And I also want to push her in front of the subway train.
She's got that face that you look at.
She's just got that. Everything about her is just like, I want to cuddle with this lady, and I want to murder her because I cannot stand this person. This person should not exist.
Well, I
love her so much.
Our Winona Ryder viewership, I think, just went down. I think we just lost at least one Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
No, that's a compliment.
That you don't know whether you want to love her or kill her.
But that I love her and I can't stand it. That's because that's a woman. Yeah. That's a real woman there. One that you hate. But you still love.
Okay, what movie do you love her the most in? What's when you think of Winona Ryder? What's the movie that you immediately think of her? Or do you go Stranger Things now?
Now it's Stranger Things because that was the first role that I didn't dislike her in any way, shape, or form.
So do you like?
I only loved her in that one.
Really? So you don't like her in anything else?
I do and I don't. It's equal. That was the first one where it was not equal, where she was better than she was worse.
Yeah. So what are you talking, like Edward Scissorhands?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them. I hate her and I love her.
Beetlejuice. Heather's, I think, is probably her greatest performance ever. Her and Christian Slater are ridiculous in that.
But I still hate her in it.
Yeah?
You still hate her. You hate
well,
her.
yeah, because she's no matter what the character, she's still wrapped up. Well, she's the Winona Ryder, but the character itself is still somebody that's wrapped up and manipulated by everything. So it's a hateable character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they did remake Heather's into a TV show. I think we might have talked about this on one episode, and I really hope it doesn't last. I don't like to wish ill on people, but I do, and I hope that show is canceled and they don't continue to destroy classic.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, quick question from the Peanut Gallery.
You know, there's been lots of memes all over the years about how, like, you know, Danielson should win because he used an illegal move and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Did they actually address that?
Johnny does say it was an illegal kick.
Oh, awesome.
Johnny does say that.
And he throws a jab back at him, and another jab gets thrown.
Yeah.
Like
their rivalry is still very present.
Like,
they do
best
address
part
the
of the
kick,
show,
right? They do address it.
I think the best part of the show is the writing. The dude cannot get away from Daniel at all.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
He's on the radio. He's on TV. His daughter and her friends hit his car, which is why he winds up going to Daniel's place.
Yeah, cannot get away from this dude.
Yeah,
it's fucking. It is really good. You should check it out.
Definitely check it out.
2 free episodes.
Yeah, and if you like it, you know, try to find a place where you can stream it online for free. That's not YouTube.
Nice.
Or just pay for YouTube Red.
Or just do the trial and then don't do it.
Or don't watch it because Karate Kid was never good.
You're
crazy. Come on.
You're crazy.
You're a crazy person.
It sucks. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
And you're a karate guy.
Yes.
Do you hate it more being somebody that was educated in karate?
Yeah, definitely.
How many kids did you go up against that would try to use the crane kick that you just pummeled? Anybody actually try to use it?
Hey, my karate wasn't like that, man.
Oh yeah, you've told me your karate was just all out brawl.
Was nothing at all like that.
Your pastor beat the shit out of you.
There was a lot of crazy stuff that happened at
That's
karate.
not even a lie. His pastor beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, I know.
It's insane.
It is pretty crazy.
My pastor just insulted the shit out of me.
Wow. No, yeah.
Danielson
wants to be. That guy whines the whole time. I signed up to get the living fuck beat out of me all the time. Like, literally, I got the living fuck beat out of me.
So you went to more of a Cobra Kai style, no mercy, no holds barred.
I guess maybe looking back at it, I was the Cobra Kai.
So I feel like you would enjoy this show for that reason.
Yeah, but I wasn't the bad guy either. Just saying.
He's not the bad guy.
He's not. That's the thing.
Then maybe I would like it.
The good guy or bad guy argument. I mean, How I Met Your Mother made it famous, that argument where Barney talked about it a lot on the show.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it depends on your standpoint, because if you look at it realistically, as they do on How I Met Your Mother, it's a guy who spent his entire life seemingly training to be an amazing martial artist. And then some kid from Jersey shows up, and it's a Luke Skywalker situation where he spends 6 minutes learning the Force, and all of a sudden he's like the most powerful person on the block.
Yep.
That's aggravating as all hell.
Yeah.
And I can totally see why they went with this approach, because any other approach, if you made Daniel the focal point in that way, it would have been tried and untrue. It would have been boring. It would have been just the most repetitive thing ever, and it might as well have just started, Will Smith offspring.
I do have a theory that he's going to drop the car dealerships, and I haven't seen any of this.
Yeah.
I think he's going to back away from the car dealerships
and
open up his Miyagi.
They kind of seem to allude to that. I mean, they show a flashback. Like every person that buys a car from his dealership gets a bonsai tree.
Like I feel like
it's still in there.
That situation, and it's just going to be.
Yeah.
Are they going to CG Miyagi in?
Well, they have a heart-to-heart-ish situation where he just looks at a picture of Miyagi and is just like.
Because that guy's dead.
It's really hard, just so you know, it's really hard for me to say Miyagi because our cat's name is Mr. Miyagi. So not saying Miyagi every single time is throwing me off. Karate Kid's amazing.
You ever punch that cat?
No. It scratches the fuck out of me sometimes.
I would, if it
and it can fart like a motherfucker. I would
punch it. When my cat scratches me, I'd kick her, punch the fuck out of her.
So the cat lives
what the fuck, man?
Oh,
you know what? She won't scratch me anymore after a few beatings.
He catches flies too.
Yeah.
He catches flies. Not with chopsticks though. All right, the Peanut Gallery's leaving. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks, dude.
All right, so
the only qualm I have with it is I hope it's not his daughter that he's training, because it kind of alludes to that as well.
Oh, that Johnny's gonna be training Daniel's daughter.
No.
Or that Daniel's gonna train his own daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, because it looks like some of like her friends and stuff all the losers start getting trained by Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
that's what it looks
right.
like.
Maybe.
So she could get pulled into that. There's one scene in like the post credits of the second episode where they're trying to entice you for the other 8 to get YouTube Red, where she's defending Cobra Kai to Daniel.
True,
so it might be like the boyfriend character is signed up for it or something like that, even though he's the one that got the shit kicked out of him by Johnny in the first place. Yeah, but maybe. so that's an old thing that's being redone. That's being redone really, really well. Before we go to break, I want to bring up a new thing that's coming out. That's a remake of an old thing that looks like it's being done really, really poorly. I don't know if you remember last year, I think it was, or the year before. Yeah, it was last year, or maybe even early this year. Guy Ritchie did King Arthur.
Correct. I loved it.
I didn't see it, but it looked like
I loved it.
It looked like it was Guy Ritchie. Like, it looked like he got to just make the King Arthur movie that he wanted to make. With his angles, with his style, with his music, everything.
If you like dialogue and the way he does it, watch the movie.
Well, I want to see that.
Worth it.
But whenever something good happens, people have to rehash it and make something shitty out of it, right?
Right.
They always have to. They can't leave it be. He did Sherlock Holmes, which is kind of a period piece. This is a totally different period piece. Or this summer and coming soon, there is a new Robin Hood coming out.
Yep.
Now, it's been 8 years since the Russell Crowe Robin Hood happened, which wasn't really that great.
Forgettable.
It was Ridley Scott. It was really unfortunate.
It, honestly.
And you think it was 8 years after they did Gladiator, or 9 years after they did Gladiator, whatever it is. Like, you would think that team up, like, Russell Crowe is still one of the biggest stars. Ridley Scott is still pumping out. I mean, even to this day, they're both pumping things out. And I think Cate Blanchett is playing Maid Marian in that. And it's the least enjoyable Robin Hood that I've ever seen. So this new one looks to kind of beat that pedestal, get to that high ranking spot as the worst, because it looks like Guy Ritchie's Robin Hood that somebody else came in and made to try to be Guy Ritchie's Robin Hood.
Is it a Guy Ritchie movie?
It is not a Guy Ritchie movie,
It's
but
not.
it is shot.
Who's in it?
It's Jamie Foxx is in it.
Okay. I saw the trick.
Yeah.
It's like more modern than a regular Robin Hood.
But it still takes place in that time period. Everything is just modernized like Guy Ritchie would do. So it looks like they took the Robin or the King Arthur.
More, like, he might stylize a little more modern, but he's pretty much in that period.
Yeah, he just like haircuts or certain just the dialogue, the words.
Is this a remake of the Kevin Costner?
It is not. It is not. It is just this one. That's what I thought when I first saw it. That
might be racist of me to say.
It might be. It might be. But I mean, he's the only black character in that movie that I can remember, so it makes sense that you would assume that. Or he's the Dave Chappelle character, which I think is supposed to be the Morgan Freeman character. Men in Tights.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I gotta say, Men in Tights, besides maybe the Errol Flynn and the cartoon Robin Hood, that's the best Robin Hood
ever.
They poke such great fun at Kevin Costner in that. I speak with a real British accent, like that whole.
Yeah, and you still get the Robin Hood story.
Yeah,
it's just
but this Robin Hood story looks like they're trying too hard. They're taking the idea that he's a high-ranking member of society, but he's like super undercover and nobody knows who the Hood is. And it looks that's what they're calling it. They're referring to him as the Hood.
Wait. Are they doing it based on the book actually called Hood?
It might be based on a graphic novel or something like that.
It's an actual story, and it's a little bit. It's in that time period, kind of modernized, but the book talks about more political shit, like shit that would actually be going on then. So it's a pretty serious book. And it's a good read.
Possible.
It's three parts.
Now, it's a Robin Hood movie, so I'm going to watch it. No matter what, I'm going to watch this, right? I love Robin Hood. Like, when I was younger, I watched the Errol Flynn ones with my dad, and then the Kevin Costner one. I still will watch that and enjoy watching it. Right. The Sean Connery one where it's really old Robin. It's a really, if you've never seen it, super depressing Robin Hood story from like the late 70s, where Sean Connery plays an aging Robin Hood.
No, I've never seen that.
And then Maid Marian, I think, is...
Sean Connery's in the Kevin Costner one, too, though,
Yeah,
right?
playing Richard.
Why?
He's playing Richard Lionheart.
Okay.
But this old one has, like, Denholm Elliott from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the guy who plays the one that works at the school with Harrison Ford. And I forget, Richard Harris, the original Dumbledore. Like, there's a lot of... Ian Holm, Bilbo from the Lord of the Rings. A lot of really awesome actors and just people that are really cool to see, especially back then. But it's super depressing. It's a totally different take. But this new one, it just looks like it's very acrobatic. It's shot like in a Matrix-y, like we're going to follow the guy flying through the air. And it's like, how is he soaring for like 30 feet? Like, it looks like they're almost making him a superhero. And I'm going to watch it, and I hope it's good. Right. But this might be one of those situations where whoever's doing their editing for their previews is just marketing it terribly. But I gotta watch it, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be.
It is. It's the best one.
Yeah, Richard, Men in Tights. It is.
Best one. Can't go wrong there.
But the new one, it's probably gonna suck dick. It's probably gonna be terrible. It's probably gonna be god awful. It's gonna be like that Three Musketeers that was all acrobatic and bullshitty.
Yeah.
I like the Chris O'Donnell one.
Yeah.
You ever see the Chris O'Donnell, Tim Curry one from the Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
That was the good one.
Like that one.
And then they made that acrobatic one like 10 years ago. I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's some guy that like Taylor Kitsch or one of those types of actors.
I didn't know who that is.
Me neither. I just came up with a name that I remembered from years ago.
Cool.
Yeah, he's crazy. All right, well,
we're gonna that guy. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I feel like he's a CW type actor. Well, probably. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to come back and wrap everything up. You're going to hear some tune that we have from Mr. Andy Moose. If you listened, I think, to episode 1 or 2, you heard this one. So stay tuned. Try not to go insane to the music. We'll be right back. Yep. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. We are back. Oh, yeah. That doesn't sound like a Zima.
What are you trying to do here, man?
Natty Ice. Oh, Zima's not going to sponsor us after our glowing review of their lemon water.
Well, we're fucked.
Do you think this just tasted stronger or more intense back in the day because we had like Jolt and Mountain Dew and then this?
We weren't drinking alcohol.
Yeah, we didn't. Well, we didn't have alcohol, but I'm saying like Red Bull didn't exist as frequently. Amped, like all these like shit, high sugar, super taurine and guano. I don't know.
I love it.
They put in.
I love that.
I don't think it's guano.
Is there
bat shit? Is there bat shit in this? It tastes like bat shit.
The bat shit gives you energy.
It does.
That's what gives you the energy. The bat poop
grows some good crops.
Bat poop.
It's good for crops.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, we do not have a guest this evening. Sometimes we have a guest, and when we have a guest, the end segment we're going to give to them. We're going to let them talk a little bit, as much as we like to. We're going to interrupt them.
Sure.
We're going to
make fun of them.
We're going to make fun of them.
So please be a guest on our show.
Please be a guest and submit your music or your artwork. We would love to feature your visual art, if you have any, on our live shows here every Tuesday, 9 o'clock on YouTube. Yep. Your music can be our break music. Just submit it, and we would love to have that each week even. You can give us a new song. Yep. We like to write new theme songs every week, and this week we opted to play a throwback of the original theme song from the original run of the show.
It is a good old song, dude.
Yeah, it's a good original one. It's a fun one. And that one had all of our guests every week. We would have them, everybody that was a guest, we would have them add vocals to it. So it's like a quilt of a song. Yes. Yep. But so tonight for our closing segment, for our last segment, I want to talk about things that we've seen or heard off of Facebook.
Yep.
Our news feeds are flooded every single day with crazy stories. Sometimes they're 5, 6, 7 years old, but you're just getting them now. Sometimes they're brand new. Sometimes they're real. Sometimes they're fake. Sure. One of the stories that I didn't personally find, but Alyssa had found, and she told me about, and it was brought up again today. That I just find to be one of the most bizarre situations ever. There was a woman, and I'm not sure the time frame as to when this happened, but there's a woman who met a man. They seemingly fell in love. They got married, and I'm assuming they did what most people that get married do. Fucked. Yeah, no, they had sex.
Yeah.
Like his penis inside.
Wait, that's what you do after you get married?
If you're cool, it's what you do before you get married too. Oh yeah.
I never tried it yet.
Me neither. Here it's great though. Can't wait. But this story, this woman marries this guy. They're married for a decent amount of time, and then one day he's on a flight somewhere, and the plane goes down. And he, for all she knows, and for everybody else, he's dead.
Okay.
His body wasn't found. He's dead. Plane's gone. They found wreckage, and they found remnants like his ID and stuff like that. Like washed ashore.
Is he the only one on this?
I'm not sure about that. Okay. Not 100% sure. But he went down, and he's presumed dead. Now, months to a year or so later, the lady's watching TV, and there's something that's taking place in Cuba that's on television. And she sees the man that she knows is her husband getting off of an airplane in Cuba.
Okay.
And she looks into it, and it turns out that this guy that she had been married to was not at all who he said he was. He was actually a spy for the Cuban government.
Okay.
Whoa.
Like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Pretty intense.
That if you fucking... Like... What was the time frame in this? Like months or years?
I mean, the marriage, I think it wasn't many years. I think.
But I mean, like from the death to when she saw him.
A couple months. That's maybe a year.
Dude,
maybe a year.
Where you thought somebody
was dead, your loved one, the person that you were betrothed, and then married to. Yeah, that
happens to me all the time.
All the time. Hey. Well, stop being catfish so easy. So this woman sees this, and then she takes action, and she sues Cuba.
Okay.
And she sues Cuba, the country of Cuba, the government of Cuba.
How did she find out he was a spy?
I'm not sure.
Like, hey, you
I have a lot
yeah,
of
you caught me.
holes. I have a lot of holes
You
in this story.
fucking caught me here, like.
Yeah. But she contacts them and she sues them, but she sues them for rape. For rape because she never gave consent to have sex with whoever this spy was. She gave consent to have sex with the man that she thought she knew and thought she was married to.
That's heavy.
That's heavy,
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty fucking crazy.
And it made me think, what the hell is the situation with furries then? Because I signed on to fuck Elmo, not Harold.
Yeah.
Whew.
Right?
That's deep.
I don't know,
That's
dude.
deep.
You should bring that up to them. And
I
be
know.
Like, you guys need some legal
Hey,
advice
you know
on
what?
this
Furries, you can't. If someone's in a furry suit, no matter what, they can't rape you.
If they're in a furry suit, they can't.
Even if they're raping you, you can't. They can't get in trouble for rape.
Why?
Because they're an animal.
They're an animal?
Mm-hmm.
So they can an animal get in trouble for bestiality to a human? Like if you're like a dolphin, dolphins are known to from time to time like get a little frisky with a human.
What are you gonna
throw him in jail?
Throw the dolphin.
I'm gonna waterboard that dolphin. He's gonna love it.
I'm gonna airboard that motherfucker. I'm gonna stick
He
my
gets
thumb in
3
his
laps.
blowhole.
He
Just a
gets
leaf
3
blower to
laps
his
around
face.
the lake in the helicopter.
No. See, what we can do is all the animals that rape humans can go to SeaWorld. That's kind of like jail.
There's people that want to fuck animals, so all the animals that
then they can go to SeaWorld too.
Can just get those animals.
Can we just make SeaWorld the place that everyone goes for bestiality and just like really sink their brand as far as we can?
I thought that's what it was for already.
I mean, that big splash show is going to be really interesting now.
Oh my god.
Oh, because I'll be the one doing the splash. Me and an orca. I'm gonna free Willy.
See, fucking marine animals is weirder than land animals.
Is
I'm
that
not
because
saying I get it or I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm not really against it either, but whatever.
It's neither here nor there.
A land animal is more. I never seen a dolphin's dick though, so I don't know.
I think they're spirally of some sort, or like pronged. They're one of those animals that have a penis that attaches and secures the mate to them until they release.
Yeah, because it's rough in the ocean.
Yeah, there's some water turbulence or whatever you want to call it, undertow, all that stuff. They can just get sucked away at any point. You need a wiener that penetrates and grasps. You need one of those things that you, like when you're putting hanging a picture. And you can nail it in, and then it spikes open and gets stuck. That's what you want.
Actually, I think rhinos have a dick like that too.
Do they?
Yeah.
We need to get Steve on here to do a special about all the crazy animal penises.
Yeah.
He is a dick expert.
Animal sex expert.
Yeah,
Steve.
Animal sex, interspecies erotica expert Steve. I think it'd be a good segment.
Yeah.
All right. So that was just a weird story that I remember hearing, and then Justin, you had started telling me something a little bit earlier that you came across as well.
Yeah, it's basically one of those videos that pop up. And most of the time, like, you just scroll through them, it's bullshit. But the title caught my eye, and it was, this is what mind control looks like.
Okay.
And basically, it's newscasters talking about fake news.
Talking about fake news.
Yeah, like how fake news is a bad thing. Like, so many people are, like, reading fake articles and thinking it's real.
Yeah.
But
and these
on the bottom
are
of the description it said,
real
but it's not what you
newscasters.
think.
Okay.
So the video said, this is what mind control looks like, but it's not what you think.
Okay.
So I'm just going to play you guys a video with the audio.
Now, if you want to see this video, if you want to take it, just look up, this is what mind control looks like. It's posted by somebody, by Orla Red.
Orla Red.
Is the name.
O-R-L-A-R.
Published on March 31st, 2018. So we're going to take a look at this video, and we'll do some little commentary along with it, so it's not super boring to you guys. But it's, again, this is what mind control looks like.
Yep.
And let's...
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley.
I've seen this before.
Oh, geez. So basically what we're seeing is verbatim, word for word,
all over
the country.
Yeah.
Newscasters saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
There are 9 of them now.
Yeah.
plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
They got to be so hardcore, heavy-hitting words like plaguing our country.
Yeah.
Fake stories without checking facts
exactly.
Sharing of biased and false news has become
Oh, Jesus. All right, so now in the video, we're up to...
Just showing everybody. Saying
it looks
the
like it's
same
going to be
line.
about 36 by the time it's done. 36 individual shots that are all saying the exact same thing about the news.
It gets better.
And they're all talking about fake news.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. So, I mean, this isn't fear-mongering or anything, is it?
No.
No? You don't think this is fear-mongering?
No. Dude, look at all their faces, though.
Well,
nobody wants to do this.
No.
Look at them.
Do you know what this? You know who is behind this, right?
Who?
You haven't heard
I haven't read. I literally just saw this video pop up and I watched it.
Sinclair is the company, the news group
that makes
that
these.
owns
that owns
news
everything.
stations than anyone on the planet.
So they're
so Sinclair. People have actually come out saying that this, like, talking against.
Yeah.
This whole Sinclair thing, that the stations were, these anchors were told to say this thing. All by
you can
this
see
Sinclair.
it on their face,
Wait,
dude.
the craziest part of this is that I don't have proof on this. I saw this on another news program that in a tweet Trump said that the only news that you should trust is Sinclair.
Is Sinclair.
Sinclair.
Originally, it was Fox and Friends.
You know, of course.
Yeah.
Not to get political.
Not saying that the only thing,
but
as a proponent of Sinclair, and then Sinclair was the news agency that forced all these news agencies to talk about this.
Okay.
So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, yes, they were all forced to say the same thing with the same, but the thing that they're talking about is the thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were all told to say that fake news is bad, which is pretty obvious.
Yeah, fake news is bad.
You know what I mean? Whether how you feel on the whole Trump thing and the way
whatever
that,
side you fall on
fake
that.
news is bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
No, it is.
So all these this one corporation tells all their stations to say fake news is bad. Now is that a bad thing that they were all told to say that? Does that show that show a company that cares or a company that is part of the problem?
But what it shows,
sort of
I think what it shows,
thing.
it shows that one company is controlling all of the media.
Yeah,
so the fact that one company can get them all to say something, even if it is right, even if it is correct, even if it is the thing that they should be saying, it means that if they wanted to, they could make them all say something that is incorrect. So it's almost like they're getting ahead of the fake news story by saying, be aware that there is fake news out there. You heard it from us, so you can trust us. So now we can tell you some fake news.
Maybe it was to prove that fake news is a thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That video, if you saw that video and you didn't believe that they can tell news anchors to say anything they want, that video is proof that yes, they can.
I'm not
like
denying
you said,
that
Justin, they
issue.
do all kind of look like they're being held captive while they're saying this.
Like I'm not saying fake news shouldn't be addressed, sure, but just the way it's propositioned, or just and in the same right, just the way that video is cut up for us to watch that.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely
for the shock and
I found
all.
on Facebook. So like, it was just one of those things where it's like, fuck, I'm gonna show you guys. Like,
well, James, they're literally 1984ing us.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's like somebody 15 years ago read 1984 for the first time and went, "Oh, I'm in a position of power. Let's see if we can do this."
Yeah, let's try it.
Now, 1984, maybe that's what's happening. Is there any, before we wrap up, is there any dystopian or utopian future from a book or from a movie that you would opt to live in? Is there anyone that you like? If this is 1984, we're getting a short speak. We're getting, Big Brother watching us, everything along those lines. Is there anything
if
like...
we're just going pure, like...
fantasy,
future,
anything future?
I mean, Mad Max.
Mad Max?
I would love...
You would survive
I would be so cool. Be like,
your vehicle's already ready for it.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
I'd be dead in 3 hours.
I love Mad Max. I pray for some crazy future like that where I can be the road warrior.
Yeah.
That's a fantasy of mine.
Yeah.
For real.
See, I go the other way because I tend to side... not we try not to get political or anything like that.
Sure.
I kind of tend to me and Zach have had this conversation in the past about when there are rules put into place and laws put into place, it's basically the government telling you, we don't trust you, so we're saying you can't own these guns because we don't trust you with them. And your side has always been, fuck you, freedom. Like, don't tell me what I can and can't do. Exactly. For me, I'm like, well, a lot of the times I'm a goddamn fucking moron and I make really dumb mistakes. So sometimes I need someone just kind of telling me.
Use something like if you got to use a gun and do it correctly, you'd be fine.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I'm just saying I don't mind if there is regulation for overall protection, because I have a guilt-free conscience about a lot of things. So I'm like, okay, like my life's an open book. I literally have a podcast where I talk about random dumb bullshit that has happened in my life, left and right. So I'm okay with everything being out there. So with that, I have always leaned towards Minority Report.
Okay, so
a world where I could potentially get arrested because I had the thought of wanting to murder somebody.
Yeah.
I get that. But other than that, everybody else is off the streets and crime's at like an all-time low.
Sure.
And then they're all like fingerless, touch screen. There's no screen. It's just all like projected screen.
Yeah.
I like it for the tech side of it. And then you can also get new eyes.
You could.
I think the new eyes is a good thing.
That's a Philip K. Dick story.
Oh, I love. Yeah. It would be. It would honestly. It'd be that. Or in a weird demented way, Man in the High Castle.
You heard it here first, Kyle. Which is the Nazis?
No. Well, if you watch the show, the whole premise is that we lose World War II. The Nazis take over the East Coast. The Japanese take over the West Coast, and the sliver of America in the center that nobody wants,
nobody gives a shit about,
is just still America. It's basically a giant truck stop of freedom, Old West.
Yeah.
So
in the middle of America is just a giant truck stop.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's a love station, you know?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably the most prominent one across the country, right? The drive that you guys did out to Colorado.
The best one, though, is the Iowa World's Largest Truck Stop.
Yeah,
if you've never
been... I did not stop at that one.
I've been there twice in my life now. I will never drive across the country without going to the Iowa World's Largest.
Even if you're going the southern route, you're just going to pop up to Iowa.
It is.
It's the first time I ever had Wendy's breakfast.
God.
Yeah. Ooh, they do Wendy's breakfast.
Yeah, at the World's Largest Truck Stop, they do anything you can imagine, whatever you want.
See, I had Popeye's breakfast in an airport in the South somewhere. And that was, it was just like a chicken and waffle sandwich, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start your day off the wrong way.
Sure.
All right. Well, on that note, last thing before we wrap up.
Okay.
I came up with a shot, and I want everybody to remember this shot.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you want to buy a shot for somebody that's an asshole and you want to ruin their night. You used to be able to...
So this is not a shot you want.
No. It's a cement mixer style shot.
Okay.
If you don't know a cement mixer is Bailey's Irish Cream and then lemon or lime juice, and you shoot it and you swish it in your mouth until it gets chunky. And you're not the one drinking it, so you just tell the person to swish it in their mouth.
That's terrible.
It gets chunky, it curdles, and then they have to decide whether to spit it back into the shot glass or swallow it. Most people tend to swallow it or throw up immediately. So this one, I'm calling it a terrible start to the day, or if you want to trick them, a wonderful start to your day. Okay. And then it's just sarcastic there. What it is, it's a shot of Rumpelmans floated with orange juice.
Okay.
So it tastes like you just brushed your teeth and then you drank some orange juice. It is a god-awful way to start. I have not, because I enjoy living without that taste in my mouth.
That's what we're doing next week.
All right.
All right.
Tune in for that fucking debauchery.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up here for episode 6. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live. Also, I'd like to thank Justin and Zach here for helping us get everything put together and out to the public to listen.
Hope this week's better for everybody.
Yeah, we've been working on the sound issues. We've had some problems, but we're getting there. So shut the fuck up, stop complaining. It's free entertainment, you piece of shit. On that note,
fuck the fans.
Like to thank our wonderful friends at Moot.tv for helping getting this out.
Fuck everybody.
To the public via iTunes and other platforms. From Moot.tv, you can also check out Let Me Ask You a Question featuring Eric, Anthony, and Gregaman. And
those guys.
White Wasabi, which features Sensei Micah along with Greg and Eric. Good friends of mine, Sean Summer, and their roommate Eric.
Those fucking got fuck them too.
They've got a wonderful podcast that's called Not Movies, where they write a screenplay basically for a different movie every single week.
It's a very cool concept.
It's a great concept. Definitely check it out. And then a good friend of mine, Mr. Jason Melendez. You know what? Actually, I'll agree with you there. Fuck this guy. Jason Knows Nothing is live on Instagram every single Wednesday. So tune into that. Thank you to Big Pat, Zach, and Justin for contributing the music for the first break, and for Mr. Andy Moose contributing the music for a big fuck him, a really big fuck him. But the music that we used for the second break. And as always, Mr. Sean L. Sasser for the original artwork that Justin edited. Fuck all of you. Thank you so much for listening. Here is our ending theme song. Go fuck yourselves, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Here's Moot again. You're welcome. Later.
Moot.tv.
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be sad.